The quantum scanner pulsed rhythmically in Dr. Kira Chen's weathered hands as she traced its beam across the mountain face. 20 years of synorchaeology had taught her patience, but something about this site on Kepler 447 bits made her heart race. The readings were unlike anything she'd encountered in her career studying extinct civilizations. "Dr. Chen, you need to see this," called out her research partner, Zaxval, their crystalline form catching the light of the system's twin suns. The Meridian scientists' natural ability to process complex data patterns had made them invaluable to the expedition. Kira made her way carefully across the rocky terrain, her exosuit compensating for the planet's higher gravity. The mountain face before them appeared natural at first glance, but her trained eye caught the subtle regularities in its structure. This was no ordinary geological formation. "The quantum signatures are organized," Zaxval chittered excitedly, their crystalline appendages weaving complex patterns in the air. "They follow mathematical principles consistent with human engineering, but far more advanced than anything in our historical records." Kira nodded, her throat tight with anticipation. Humanity's disappearance 3 centuries ago remained one of the galaxy's greatest mysteries. They hadn't been destroyed in some cataclysmic war as many believed. They had simply vanished, leaving behind only fragments of their civilization for species like hers to inherit and rebuild from. "Begin full spectrum analysis," she commanded, and their research vessel, the Stellar Horizon, deployed a swarm of scanning drones. The drones' gentle hum filled the air as they mapped every millimeter of the mountain face, building a complete quantum-level scan of the structure. The results made Kira's breath catch. Hidden within the mountain was a vast complex, its walls lined with dark energy matrices that had kept it hidden from conventional scans for centuries. The technology required to build such a facility was theoretically impossible by modern standards. "Alert the Galactic Science Council," she instructed their ship's eye. "Classification level Omega. We've found something unprecedented." Within hours, the site was swarming with researchers from across the Galactic Union. Teams of scientists from a dozen species worked to understand the facility's security systems, each layer of protection more sophisticated than the last. Traditional decryption algorithms proved useless against quantum lock barriers that seemed to adapt to every attempt at breach. It was Zaxval who made the breakthrough, their crystalline neural pathways recognizing a pattern that organic minds had missed. "The security system," they announced during the evening briefing, "it's not trying to keep us out. It's testing us." Kira leaned forward, intrigued. "Testing us for what?" "Cognitive capability, technological understanding, ethical judgment." Zaxval's crystal matrix pulsed with excitement. "Each security layer presents not just a puzzle, but a moral choice. It's measuring our responses." The implications were staggering. This wasn't just an abandoned facility. It was a deliberate message, waiting for the right recipients. Under Kira's direction, the research team shifted their approach. Instead of trying to crack the facility's defenses, they began engaging with them, solving each challenge as it was presented. The breakthrough came on the 7th day. As Kira solved the final ethical paradigm, choosing to sacrifice potential military advantage to preserve an endangered ecosystem, the mountain itself began to transform. Quantum fields shifted, dark energy matrices realigned, and a doorway simply materialized in the rock face. "By the first light," breathed Dr. Nexus, a void-born physicist whose gaseous form roiled with excitement. "The energy readings, they're rewriting our understanding of quantum mechanics." Kira led the first team into the facility. The interior was pristine, preserved in a temporal stasis field that had kept it untouched by centuries. Holographic interfaces sprang to life at their approach, displaying data in formats that made their most advanced computers seem primitive by comparison. But it was the central chamber that held the true revelation. A vast spherical room, its walls covered in flowing quantum data streams, housed a single pedestal. Above it floated a hologram of Earth, humanity's lost homeworld, surrounded by a complex network of interconnected points of light stretching across the galaxy. "This is impossible," Zaxval whispered, their crystalline form resonating with shock. "These coordinates, they're everywhere. Thousands of systems, millions of potential sites." Kira's hands trembled as she accessed the main interface. The message that appeared was simple, yet it changed everything she thought she knew about humanity's disappearance. "To those who have proven worthy, you have found not our end, but our beginning. Humanity did not vanish, we evolved. This facility is one of many, each containing a piece of our legacy. We await those who are ready to understand." The message continued, revealing truths that would shake the foundations of galactic civilization. Humanity hadn't fled in defeat or died out as history recorded. They had orchestrated their own apparent extinction, seeding the galaxy with facilities like this one, waiting for the younger races to mature enough to handle their legacy. As Kira transmitted her preliminary findings to the Science Council, she knew she was lighting a fuse that would change the galaxy forever. Some would fear this discovery, others would seek to exploit it, but the truth could no longer be contained. In orbit, automated systems that had slumbered for centuries began to awaken. Across the galaxy, other facilities stirred, each containing different pieces of humanity's vast technological and cultural heritage. The game of evolution they had set in motion was entering its final phase. Kira looked at her assembled team. The crystalline Meridian, the gaseous Voidborn, the silicon-based quantum collective researchers, and saw in their diverse forms the very future humanity had planned for. They hadn't abandoned the galaxy. They had stepped back to allow others to grow, leaving breadcrumbs of knowledge for those wise enough to find them. "Send word to every major scientific institution," she commanded. Tell them we found the beginning of a new age." As her message raced across subspace channels, more facilities began to activate. Humanity's greatest experiment was about to bear fruit, and the galaxy would never be the same. The Galactic Council's emergency session erupted into chaos as holographic projections of the facility's data filled the Grand Chamber. Representatives from 200 species argued as the implications of Dr. Chen's discovery became clear. Humanity hadn't just disappeared. They had orchestrated the most elaborate technological dispersal in known history. First speaker Vox Thanis, her bioluminescent form pulsing with stress patterns, called for order. The activation of the Kepler facility has triggered similar responses across 17 sectors. "We're detecting quantum resonance signatures from locations previously thought to be empty space." Kira stood before the assembly, Zaxval at her side, as she presented their latest findings. "The facility isn't just a repository of technology," she explained, her voice steady despite the gravity of her words. "It's part of a vast network, each installation containing different aspects of human knowledge and capability." The chamber's massive displays showed real-time data from across the galaxy. Dormant systems, hidden beneath mountains, inside gas giants, and within the cores of dead stars, were awakening. Each held pieces of humanity's legacy, waiting to be understood. "This is a security crisis," declared Ambassador Krell of the militant Concordat, his armored exoskeleton clicking with agitation. "If even a fraction of these installations contain weapons technology, they contain something far more dangerous than weapons," Zaxval interrupted, their crystalline form refracting light in complex patterns. "They contain ideas." The data streaming from the Kepler facility had revealed technological concepts that challenged the very foundations of current scientific understanding. Quantum engineering that treated spacetime as a malleable medium, biological enhancement systems that could rewrite genetic codes at will, energy manipulation technologies that could reshape planets. In the 2 weeks since the initial discovery, research teams across the galaxy have begun decoding the human legacy. Each revelation brought both wonder and fear. The quantum collective's best minds struggled to comprehend engineering principles that seemed to violate fundamental laws of physics. The Biosynthesis Union's greatest geneticists were stunned by the sophistication of human biological science. But it was the message hidden within these discoveries that truly shook the galaxy's power structures. These weren't just technological archives. They were steps in a carefully planned evolution of galactic civilization itself. The humans didn't leave these facilities as a library, Kira continued, bringing up new holographic data. They left them as teaching tools. Each discovery leads to questions. Each answer reveals new challenges. They're not just sharing technology. They're guiding us towards something. The evidence was undeniable. Each facility's security systems were designed not just to protect, but to test. The very process of accessing the human legacy forced species to cooperate, to solve problems together, to face ethical challenges that transcended individual racial interests. Deep in unexplored space, ancient monitoring systems tracked these developments with infinite patience. Quantum networks that had lain dormant for centuries began to hum with activity, analyzing the responses of the galaxy's civilizations to each new revelation. On the frontier world of New Damascus, a team of void-born researchers discovered architectural plans for cities that could exist in any environment, from the hearts of stars to the space between galaxies. In the Carina Nebula, Meridian scientists unlocked data about energy manipulation that suggested faster-than-light travel was just the beginning of spatial engineering. But not all reactions were peaceful. The militant Concordat began mobilizing fleets near regions where facilities were awakening. The Commerce Guild's agents sought to secure exclusive rights to human technologies. Political alliances that had stood for centuries began to fracture as the balance of power shifted. In her private quarters aboard the research vessel, Kira reviewed the latest data with growing concern. The facility's AI had begun revealing more about humanity's grand plan, and the implications were staggering. "Show me the progression analysis," she commanded. The holographic display filled with interconnected patterns, a map of technological and social developments spanning centuries. Humanity hadn't just hidden their legacy. They had created a carefully calibrated system designed to guide the galaxy's civilizations toward a specific future. "Dr. Chen." Zaxval's urgent message interrupted her studies. "We've detected quantum signature cascades in the Carina facility. It's evolving." The facilities weren't just awakening. They were adapting, responding to the ways different species interacted with them. Each discovery, each choice made by the research teams, influenced what would be revealed next. The human legacy was alive, growing, learning. As Kira rushed to the bridge, alerts began pouring in from across known space. More facilities were activating, each responding to the others in a complex dance of quantum information. The galaxy's younger races had passed some invisible threshold, triggering the next phase of humanity's plan. "All research teams, priority alert," she broadcast. "Begin full-spectrum monitoring of facility interactions. Something bigger is starting." In the vast darkness between the stars, ancient systems stirred. Humanity's greatest experiment was accelerating, and no one, not even those who thought they understood the facility's purpose, could predict what would emerge from this awakening. The game of evolution that humanity had set in motion was entering a new phase, and the galaxy's civilizations were now players in a grand design centuries in the making. The question was no longer about what humanity had left behind, but what they were building toward. The quantum pattern danced across the stellar horizon's main display, its complexity defying conventional analysis. Kira had been staring at it for hours, trying to understand the message hidden within the facility's latest data burst. Around her, the ship's hybrid crew worked in tense silence, each aware that they were witnessing something unprecedented. "The pattern repeats," Zaxval observed, their crystalline form humming with cognitive effort. "Not just in space, but in time. The humans weren't just leaving us technology. They were leaving us a map." The discovery came at a crucial moment. Across the galaxy, tensions were reaching a breaking point. The militant Concordat had already moved warships into 3 systems containing awakened facilities. The Commerce Guild's attempts to monetize the discoveries had led to violent clashes on 6 worlds. "Show me the temporal overlay," Kira commanded. The ship's AI compiled data from all known facilities, creating a four-dimensional representation of their activation sequence. What emerged wasn't random. It was a carefully orchestrated symphony of revelation. By the first light, breathed Dr. Nexus, their gaseous forms swirling with excitement. The facilities, they're not just responding to our discoveries. They're responding to our evolution. The truth hidden in the data was both beautiful and terrifying. Each facility's activation had been precisely calculated centuries ago, designed to trigger only when the galaxy's civilizations reached specific technological and social development thresholds. Humanity hadn't just disappeared. They had become architects of galactic evolution itself. Deep within the Kepler facility, Kira and her team made another breakthrough. Hidden beneath layers of quantum encryption, they found records of humanity's final days before their apparent disappearance. The images and data told a story that contradicted everything known about human history. They weren't destroyed. Kira explained to the emergency session of the Science Council. They weren't invaded or defeated. They chose this. The records showed a civilization that had reached a crucial turning point. Humanity had developed technologies that could reshape reality itself, quantum engineering that could alter the fundamental constants of the universe, biological science that could rewrite the very nature of existence. But instead of using these powers to dominate, they had made an unprecedented choice. They understood that raw power wasn't enough. Zaxval added, their crystalline segments refracting the council chamber's light. They saw that the galaxy's species needed to develop naturally, to face challenges and grow on their own terms. The facilities contained more than just technology. They held the key to understanding humanity's grand experiment. Each installation was a carefully crafted teaching tool, designed to guide the galaxy's younger races toward a greater understanding of not just science, but ethics, cooperation, and responsibility. But as these revelations spread, not everyone welcomed them. The militant Concordat's attempts to forcefully access facility data had led to disasters. Quantum security systems didn't just resist unauthorized access. They responded with elegant defensive measures that left attacking ships drifting powerless, their weapons and engines transformed into inert matter. The Commerce Guild's representatives have withdrawn from 3 more systems, reported Commander Lux of the Galactic Peace Force. Their attempts to replicate human technology without understanding the underlying principles have resulted in catastrophic failures. In her private moments, Kira grappled with the implications of their discoveries. The humans hadn't just been planning for centuries. They had been orchestrating a transformation of galactic civilization itself. Each facility, each piece of technology, each ethical challenge was part of a vast educational program designed to help younger races avoid the mistakes humanity had faced. Display the convergence projections, she ordered during a late-night research session. The holographic matrix filled with interconnected patterns, a map of possible futures based on how different species responded to the human legacy. The patterns were beautiful in their complexity, showing how cooperation and understanding led to technological breakthroughs that no single species could achieve alone. But time was running out. The activation of more facilities had triggered something unexpected, a countdown hidden in the quantum substrate of space itself. Whatever humanity had planned was entering its final phase. All research teams, priority alert, Kira broadcast across secure channels. The temporal signatures are accelerating. Something's coming. In the space between stars, ancient systems stirred with growing purpose. The quantum networks connecting the facilities pulsed with increasing energy. Humanity's final message to the galaxy was about to be revealed, and no one, not even those who thought they understood their plan, was prepared for what would emerge. As the stellar horizon raced toward a newly activated facility in the galactic core, Kira reviewed the latest translations of human records. One phrase kept repeating, its meaning now clear. To guide is not to control. To teach is not to dominate. The greatest power is knowing when to step aside. The galaxy stood on the brink of transformation. Humanity's hidden truth was more than just a revelation about the past. It was a key to the future. And as more facilities awakened, as more species began to understand the true nature of the human legacy, the ultimate question remained: what would emerge from this carefully crafted crucible of evolution? The galactic core pulsed with unusual energy as the stellar horizon approached the coordinates of the latest activated facility. Quantum sensors detected patterns that defied known physics. Space itself seemed to be singing with anticipation. Multiple ships dropping out of hyperspace announced the ship's eye. Militant Concordat signatures detected. They're arming weapons. Kira watched as the tactical display filled with hostile markers. The Concordat had sent their elite fleet, determined to seize control of what they believed would be the most powerful human facility yet discovered. But something was different about this confrontation. The facility's quantum field is expanding. Zaxval reported, their crystalline form vibrating with intense readings. It's not just defensive. It's transformative. The space around them began to change. The Concordat ships, bristling with weapons, found themselves encased in fields of pure quantum energy. But instead of disabling them, the fields began sharing information directly with their crews, showing them visions of possible futures, of consequences and opportunities. This is it, Kira breathed. This is what the humans were building toward. The facility at the galactic core wasn't just another repository. It was a nexus, a central point in humanity's grand design. As its systems fully activated, it began broadcasting on quantum frequencies that penetrated the consciousness of every sentient being within range. Through these broadcasts, the truth of humanity's plan became clear. They hadn't hidden their legacy to protect it. They had hidden it to create the perfect teaching moment. Each facility, each discovery, each conflict and resolution had been steps in a carefully crafted lesson. "They're showing us everything," Dr. Nexus exclaimed, their gaseous forms swirling with excitement. Not just their technology, but their journey, their mistakes, their triumphs, their evolution. The quantum broadcasts revealed humanity's own history of conflict and growth, how they had faced the same challenges now confronting the galaxy's younger races, how they had learned that true power lay not in domination, but in understanding. In orbit around the core facility, the Concordat fleet hung motionless, their crews transfixed by the revelations flowing through their minds. The Commerce Guild's agents, watching through long-range sensors, saw their schemes for profit dissolve in the face of greater purpose. The facilities aren't just teaching us about technology, Kira realized, watching as the quantum fields continued to expand. They're teaching us about ourselves. Across the galaxy, every activated facility began resonating in harmony with the core nexus. The quantum network humanity had built centuries ago was finally revealing its true purpose, not as a weapon or a library, but as a mirror showing each species their own potential. Commander Krell of the Concordat, his earlier hostility transformed by understanding, opened a channel to the stellar horizon. Dr. Chen, his voice carried newfound humility. "We were wrong. This was never about power." The facility's broadcast showed visions of possible futures, futures where cooperation replaced conflict, where different species combined their unique perspectives to achieve what none could do alone. But they also showed darker possibilities, futures where fear and greed led to destruction. "This is the crucible," Zaxval announced, their crystalline form resonating with the quantum frequencies. "The moment humanity prepared us for. We're not just discovering their legacy. We're choosing our own." In the depths of the core facility, new chambers began to open. They contained not weapons or technology, but knowledge of a different kind. The accumulated wisdom of a species that had learned to transcend its own limitations. The Commerce Guild's representative, watching from a safe distance, finally understood the futility of trying to control this knowledge. "We're withdrawing all claims," they announced across open channels. "Some things belong to everyone or no one." But even as understanding spread, a new tension arose. The quantum network was building toward something, its energy patterns suggesting an imminent event of galactic proportions. Humanity's final message was about to be delivered. All stations. Kira broadcast, her voice steady despite the mounting pressure. Prepare for quantum convergence, whatever humanity planned. It's happening now. The galaxy held its breath as the core facility's energy readings reached their peak. In the space between moments, in the quantum fabric of reality itself, humanity's greatest experiment was about to reach its conclusion. And in that crystalline instant of anticipation, as species that had been enemies mere hours ago stood together in wonder, the true magnitude of human ingenuity became clear. They hadn't just preserved their knowledge. They had created the perfect moment for its revelation, when the galaxy's civilizations were finally ready to understand not just the power of technology, but the responsibility that came with it. The storm was rising, but it wasn't a storm of destruction. It was a storm of transformation, carefully engineered by a species that had learned the greatest power of all. The power to guide without controlling, to teach without dominating, to transform without destroying. As the quantum fields reached their crescendo, Kira and her diverse crew stood ready to witness the culmination of humanity's grand design. The galaxy was about to change forever, and this time, everyone would face that change together. The quantum convergence began with a whisper, a ripple in space-time that started at the galactic core and spread outward like rings in still water. On the bridge of the stellar horizon, Kira watched in awe as reality itself seemed to hold its breath. Energy readings are beyond measurable scales, Zaxval reported, their crystalline form resonating with the pure power flowing through space. The quantum network is transforming. The facility at the galaxy's heart pulsed with impossible light, its energy patterns weaving through the quantum fabric of space itself. Around them, ships from a dozen species hung motionless, their crews united in witnessing something unprecedented in galactic history. Then, it happened. The quantum network that connected all human facilities suddenly crystallized into visibility, lines of pure energy linking thousands of points across the galaxy. But they weren't just connections. They were channels, carrying something more precious than power or information. It's consciousness, Dr. Nexus gasped, their gaseous forms swirling with excitement. The humans. They didn't leave. They evolved. The truth unveiled itself in waves of pure understanding. Humanity hadn't disappeared or hidden. They had transformed themselves into beings of pure quantum energy, existing within the fabric of space-time itself. The facilities, the tests, the careful guidance, all of it had been preparation for this moment of contact. Through the quantum network, they began to communicate, not with words or data, but with pure thought and experience. Every sentient being connected to the network could feel the presence of countless human minds. Their consciousness expanded beyond physical form. We waited. The thoughts echoed in every mind. We waited until you were ready to understand, until you could see beyond power to purpose, beyond technology to wisdom. The revelation shook the foundations of galactic civilization. The humans hadn't abandoned the galaxy. They had become its guardians, watching, guiding, preparing younger races for this moment of transcendence. Commander Krell, his earlier aggression forgotten, spoke for many. All this time, we thought we were discovering your remains, but we were actually meeting your children. Through the quantum network, humanity shared visions of possibility. They showed how consciousness could evolve beyond physical form, how different species could unite their unique perspectives to achieve something greater than the sum of their parts. But they also showed something else: choice. We offer not commands, but possibilities. The human consciousness conveyed, not dominion, but partnership. The next step in evolution is yours to choose. The Commerce Guild's representatives, watching the transformation unfold, finally understood the true value of what humanity offered. It wasn't technology or power. It was the opportunity to grow beyond current limitations, to evolve while maintaining what made each species unique. On the stellar horizon's bridge, Kira felt tears rolling down her cheeks as she understood the full scope of human ingenuity. They had created not just a technological legacy, but a path to transcendence that preserved free will and celebrated diversity. The facilities, Zaxval realized, their crystalline form pulsing with new understanding. They weren't just tests. They were practice runs for this moment, learning how to think beyond physical form. Across the galaxy, species that had been enemies found themselves united in wonder. The quantum network offered glimpses of what they could become, not by abandoning their nature, but by expanding it, growing beyond physical limitations while keeping their essential selves intact. The militant Concordat's warships transformed into research vessels, their weapons replaced with quantum sensors. The Commerce Guild's agents became facilitators of knowledge exchange rather than profit. Ancient enemies began working together, combining their unique perspectives to understand humanity's gift. As the quantum convergence reached its peak, a final message resonated through the network. We are not your masters or your gods. We are your siblings in the cosmos, a few steps further along the path. The future is yours to shape. We offer not an end, but a beginning. The galaxy would never be the same. The human legacy wasn't just technology or knowledge. It was a bridge to a new stage of existence, one where consciousness could grow beyond physical bounds, while maintaining the beautiful diversity that made each species unique. On the stellar horizon, Kira looked at her crew, crystalline, gaseous, organic, and synthetic beings working in perfect harmony, and saw the future humanity had envisioned. Not a future of uniformity, but one of unity and diversity, where every perspective added to the whole. Send word to every world, she commanded, her voice firm with purpose. Tell them humanity has shown us not just what we can become, but who we already are. The dawn of a new age isn't something we await. It's something we create together. As the quantum network stabilized, establishing permanent connections between all sentient species, the galaxy entered a new era. Humanity had given them more than knowledge or power. They had given them possibility and the wisdom to use it well. The story of humanity's disappearance finally had its ending. They hadn't vanished into extinction or fallen in defeat. They had evolved, and in doing so, created a path for others to follow, not through force or dominance, but through understanding, cooperation, and the shared journey towards something greater than themselves. The new dawn had arrived, and it was more beautiful than anyone could have imagined.